So let's start it off
We're back. That's right, guys. We have returned.
for another movie.
Yes, which one?
Man, you just kind of gave it away if you're subtle enough to see it, or if you looked at the YouTube title. Well, basically, we saw another Batman movie, Batman Returns,
Yes.
starring Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle
Pfeiffer, yeah.
Pfeiffer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was our reason for watching this one over all the other ones?
Well-
Because last time we said we'd go backwards, but we didn't.
Yeah, we thought we'd do Batman Forever, guys, but, we'll let that dwell on. Not forever, but we'll get back to it. But the reason why is because it's cold outside. It's the Ice Age right now. It's February. It's very cold in Toronto. That's why we did
Last night it was
It
freezing.
was freezing, guys. We're doing a very cold movie, a very dark movie. Batman Returns was just set around Christmas time in December. But actually, the movie was released in the summer, guys. This is a strange thing about this movie.
Yeah, because I speculated that that it was filmed in the summer, but
Or actually,
no,
we thought
it
it
was
was filmed
filmed
in
in the winter,
but
then in the
released
summer.
yeah.
Yeah, but the reason we watched it was because at ANC there was a bat in the attic.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. There was a bat in our attic at ANC, and it somehow got through in the storage area where we keep the games, and they had to capture it. I mean, it damaged its wing, and I told Wismore, yes, it's a sign. We have to.
It's the bat signal.
It's a bat.
That's what I was saying. And then
Batman Returns.
so that was it. But then there were
Yeah.
3 other movies. It was like, which one? It's like it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Hey, Penguins. It's kind of cold,
I
so
think it makes
let's do
sense.
that. It was really cold yesterday. By the way, what was it? You sure the bat didn't have any like younglings in its nest? Maybe
I
like
mean,
it made
it's-
a nest.
It's possible, yeah, because the attic is. I've never been up there, but apparently it's.
I think
probably
it should be a good check, like in case there's more, and then
Yeah.
next time something happens. But back to the movie, alive and well. So this is my first time seeing Batman Returns. I played the Super Nintendo
Oh,
Nintendo
the beat 'em
video
up,
game.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
beat 'em up. I saw bits of this movie. Like I know Catwoman's in it and Penguin's in it, but other than that, I've never seen this movie. And it is directed by Tim Burton, who also directed the first Batman.
Yeah, 1989. Yep.
So, well, one thing to say is, I liked it. I liked the movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it better than Batman and Robin. 'Cause
Yeah.
Tim Burton's like style in this movie, you can definitely see it because there's a lot of it like shown throughout the movie where
Very
it's just
dark.
Yeah, and a very Nightmare Before Christmas during
Yeah,
the
for
snow
sure.
scenes.
This came out around the same time. I think Nightmare came out slightly after, but yeah, definitely a prelude to that movie.
Also, this movie is 2 hours long, and when we finished, I was like, it felt like an hour 30 minutes, and
and-
it's like any movie that does the thing where you watched it for a long time but didn't realize that you watched it for a long time. It has to be a pretty good movie because then you're not thinking about how much is there left, like Batman and Robin,
Yeah,
which
definitely
we'll
good.
probably harp on a lot.
Definitely a good pace, and I don't know. Were you happy to see actors that you were familiar with, like Christopher Walken as Max Shrek?
I was not expecting Christopher Walken in this movie. I was like, that just made this movie really funny because as long as you have Christopher Walken, you're bound to have something funny happen in this movie, and
Yeah,
he did pretty good
Yeah, he
as like
did.
the
kind of like the
what was it, the executive. He plays this character called Max.
yeah Max Shrek. I mean, you kind of
Yeah,
compared
Shrek.
him to Scrooge.
Scrooge
in a
McDuck,
way,
or
so-
yeah, not McDuck, just Scrooge. Scrooge McDuck is from Disney,
Like
but
a
yeah.
modern Scrooge,
Because his
yeah.
hair, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
for
looks
sure.
like.
I think that's what they were. Yeah, they were pretty much aiming for, and
Because that hairstyle, it was also kind of old for this movie too,
Yeah.
like the style. But
and it also makes sense in a twisted kind of way, because I mean, with Tim Burton, his messages are always darker.
And
But I could
subtle.
see at the end maybe he was trying to kind of redeem himself, like with the Penguin wanted to take his son Chip down into
Yeah, there
the,
was, like, some moments
sewer.
where-
He said, no, if you have any
grudges.
you wanna, what do you say, of human emotion, you'll take me instead. So. And the fact that he stepped up for his son there kind of showed he was maybe trying to redeem himself there.
He
but,
was he had a goal. It wasn't he wanted to be remembered for times
the
as a-
legacy,
yeah,
yeah.
for his legacy. But
but it was kind of
the way he went about it was kind of just
yeah.
not always the right thing because. Well, obviously, he murdered Selena Kyle, who's
Catwoman.
Who's Catwoman? Basically, if you hear the name Selena, Catwoman right there. But crap. What
But
was
basically, I think what they were getting at was different kinds of freaks and monsters at a hand here. You know, of course, Batman had a dark childhood with his parents being murdered. You had Catwoman, very suppressed by her boss, and you had Shrek, who was using people, killing people to get what he wanted. And then you had the Penguin, who was
because of his
from a
yeah,
childhood.
because he was a freak.
Yeah,
He
freak.
ate a cat in the beginning. I was like, oh well, he's not that bad. Eats the cat. I'm like, okay, I can see why his parents would throw him out. His father was played by
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Paul Rubens, who played
Paul
Pee Wee
Rubens.
Herman. Yeah, it's true.
I was like, that's not Johnny Depp or Ed Wood, is it?
Is-
Because it looks like it,
Were
but
they-
no.
Were they trying to like subtly point out that maybe that's why he came out the way he did, because like Peter was his dad? No, that was bad. I know.
Maybe he
But,
instead of
yeah.
doing the do, he peed into the do.
Maybe, yeah.
Speaking of sexual stuff,
I
this
know,
movie
definitely.
there's a lot of innuendos in here, and some of them
Definitely.
most of them were kind of subtle, and
Yeah.
but when it came to the Penguin, he's just like, I wanna fuck you, and I'm like
Well, not like that, but yeah, he doesn't say those exact words, but yeah, he pretty much
heavily
that,
implied it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you pointed out at the beginning where we see him devouring a cat, and then later on he's mingling with the Catwoman, and he's definitely trying to eat the cat in a different way at that point, but it doesn't come about that way. But he's definitely trying hard to do that.
If
yeah.
you do it in this time
Yeah.
where he's like okay, because back then when people referred to cats, they called them pussies.
Yeah.
And
pretty
then
much.
Penguin pretty much said they're like, "Ooh, I'd like to eat that pussy," and I'm just like, "Oh God." I wasn't
Yeah.
like disappointed with it. I'm just like, "Oh God,
Yeah, they had to go there. I don't know.
it went there."
Yeah.
So was this? Which one was your favorite Batman movie? Like in the quadrilogy?
Out of the first four, I still hold the original one, 1989. I think you'll like it when we get there. It's definitely,
yeah, we almost accidentally did because I got the disc wrong.
Yeah. we
But
almost did.
well, speaking of Batman, this is my first time seeing Michael Keaton as
As
Batman,
Batman, yeah.
and
What do you think?
as Batman he looked good.
The eyes, right? Work. pretty
Yeah, or
well.
like his stature, his posture. It's very Batman. It definitely looks like it, even though the Batman is kind of a little.
He's-
The stuff he does in the movie is kind of weak and kind of not Batman-like, but he still looked good as a Batman. But as Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
he looked at like James Bond.
Yeah, he felt like he was a
Because
James
you know when he
Bond.
was talking with Christopher Walken, Max Shrek, I was like, oh, executive guy, and then until like Christopher
Said
Walken
Bruce.
was like, Bruce, and stuff, I'm like,
Oh.
that's Bruce. I was like, I couldn't. He does not look.
Doesn't feel like a Bruce Wayne.
It doesn't feel like a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd say George Clooney fit better as Bruce Wayne, sort of, like not by much, because he still kind of looked like Sean Connery, James Bond.
I could kind of see that because Bruce Wayne's supposed to be like this playboy type of guy.
Playboy
Yeah,
businessman.
he's pretending, like he's just mingling with all these party people, but
And he's also like
but
a
deep down,
very, very tough guy, but deep down he's
Yeah.
he's kind of a wreck.
Yep.
And thanks to like people like Alfred supporting him. Which speaking of which, that actor is in all four Batman
all
movies.
four.
Same with
Michael Goh was his name or something, Gao, or how do you pronounce that? But,
it's not going to be on
something
on
like
this,
that.
but he's in all four movies, so that was
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit of a surprise. And so is Commissioner Gordon by Paul
Or-
something.
or was that Michael Goh? I forget. No, Michael Goh is Alfred, and I forget. Yeah, the commissioner's name. Sorry. But yeah.
It was like Paul something. We skipped through the cast list, and like obviously you're probably not gonna remember the secondary people as much, but yeah, they were in all four movies. So it was kind of weird that it's not connected, but it kind of is connected because it's
Yeah,
like you
I
see
mean,
the same
Like,
characters.
They did touch on the previous love interest of Batman, Vicky Vale. A little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
in
and
this
then
movie, but-
and then we looked at the behind the scenes documentary thing notes, and then like Tim Burton said it had nothing to do with the first movie, and then it's like,
yeah.
what about that thing with Vicky? Who I haven't seen the other Batman movie,
Yeah.
so I don't know. They touch up on that, but apparently it's not in the same universe, so it's kind of confusing or
Well,
conflicting.
I was telling when we were talking earlier that you didn't have to have seen the first one to understand this one, which is true.
Which
It's
is
like
also
its
yeah,
own
that is very
separate-
true. Like I didn't
separate
feel
movie.
like I was missing too much
No.
because it was kind of explained
Yeah.
like in the movie itself, but not like it wasted its time explaining. Like Vicky, this person, it's like she was a reporter. It's like, oh, so maybe in the first movie she tried to go out, she found out his secret, and then it's like, it didn't work out and all that stuff.
And then in this movie, yeah, I mean, they come to realization that, yeah, they know who they realize that Batman is Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle is Catwoman, and they have that realization when they're in the
Ball.
and there's a mistletoe,
and they
above
bring
them,
it up, and I
in
was
the
like,
previous
how,
scene.
I was like, this is where I thought the Batman part was not very Batman, because like they were all dancing, and she was like, oh, mistletoe, it's kind of deadly if you eat it.
Yeah.
And if I was Batman, I'd been like, she's Catwoman, but not be like, but a kiss is even more deadlier if you mean it. And I'm just like, Batman would not do this.
So you think you could have realized it sooner, a
And
bit
then
earlier,
kind of
right?
like
Yeah.
have this thing where later on Catwoman finds out, it's like, Bruce, you lied to me, all men are terrible or something, and then he does something that gains her trust, but then right there they're kind of like, oh, so what do you want to do now? You want to fight outside? Okay. And I'm
Well-
just and then he gets his ass kicked by Catwoman in like the first encounter, and I was
Yeah.
talking about like how did Selena Kyle instantly just know how to like start
up all
whooping
this-
ass? Like some of it might be because of the cat metamorphosis or whatever, but I don't believe it. If you're an office worker and then suddenly started kicking ass,
Well,
without any like background, like, oh, she was a gymnast, or like she fought with a bunch of people and whatnot, just
Yeah, because in the original comics, yeah, I'm pretty sure Catwoman
was a thief.
yeah, thief, and she is acrobatic. But in this film, she's revived by a bunch of, I guess, stray cats that come and bite her fingers and bring her back to life.
I'm not. And we were talking about like how did they get this to work? Did like
Yeah.
sprinkle catnip all over
Yeah,
and the
probably.
cats got over? But basically, she was not a secretary, an executive assistant.
Yeah.
So there was like no training or anything. Like if you're a thief, then if you say you're a thief, then surely you might have learned a few moves like disarming and
yeah,
being sneaky,
but she just
dirty
picks it
tricks.
all up, yeah.
Nope, she just like
And she also gets the 9 lives.
which they prominently show in this movie, which made me think of like a kind of like an no, that wasn't it. Like it was kind of like some sort of neat idea where it's like you have a character that changes to another personality when the previous one dies, and then when that personality dies,
Yeah.
it changes back to the other one. So it's like, oh, that'd be kind of interesting
It kind of had like like we were pointing out, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde maybe feel to it.
from
like,
the video game,
yeah.
more
like
specifically.
a dual personality going on there. What would you say was the breakthrough performance in this film?
Oh. Well, let's see. I'm not gonna say Batman, even though it
Nah.
seems like the obvious choice. But honestly,
I don't think it's Batman either.
okay, not to sidetrack, but I was talking to you like I was like, this doesn't feel
Like
like
a
a Batman movie, because it's like we're looking at the story of like the Penguin, how his life is all
Villains.
shit, and how he's trying to like get it all right.
And Selena
Selena,
Kyle.
the stuff she goes through, and Max Shrek going through all that stuff, and Batman just feels like he's in the background just to fix things. Like, oh, how do we stop this from happening? Play the Batman card. There we go. So that's why I'm also saying no. I wouldn't say Batman really wasn't like the highlight of the performance.
You're right. People point at to when Tim Burton filmed the first two Batman films. They always say that he gave the attention more to the villains, which obviously is the case in Batman
Interesting
Returns
decision.
with Penguin and Catwoman. I guess he finds them more interesting, maybe, like because they have like
Because I guess
darker
it's
past
because like I guess it's like we've heard enough about Batman.
Batman,
You know,
yeah.
we know he's a good guy, but let's look at all the villains, because they're kind of somewhat tragic. Because yeah, Penguin, it was tragic because his parents dumped him just because he was kind of creepy. They didn't do a good job of disposing him, though. They
And
just
they-
kind of sort of let him live.
and they never point out what actually happened to his parents. But I have a feeling he probably found them and
Like from that thing
killed
when they
them.
discovered about where Penguin was all this time, which I'm still
Yeah.
kind of confused on that too, because he was thrown off and went into the sewers, didn't meet the Ninja Turtles. Although it would have been kind of funny if it was like the Penguin was like a ninja penguin,
like alternator. So
and like he actually kicked ass. But it was like he was with a circus crowd, like
yeah.
So the circus just went into the sewers and was like,
Or I guess
"Penguin freak, come with us, little boy."
Is that how you think it came out? They discovered him somehow? Yeah.
That just confused
Or
me.
were they down there already? Possibly. Maybe that's where they were dwelling. Supposedly.
Well, because I assumed he was picked up by the penguin. Well, the circus does explain how he grew up. 'Cause
Yeah.
I wouldn't have bought it if you said like the penguins raised him. I'd have been like,
Yeah.
no.
Like I have a feeling the penguins were there with the circus group, which makes sense because they bring him into that sewer, kind of so to speak, and then they literally carry him off into the water when he ends up dying. Yeah.
Because let's see, it was like, you know, if you had the scene where he was in the carriage and then like a bunch of circus people came and picked him up, and then it's like, oh, so that's how it went, and then later on he, you know, he escaped and then lived in the sewer, like after he learned how to live by himself,
I guess I wanted to make it mysterious, kind of, but
which not really. I mean,
well, definitely wasn't the origin that he had in the comics. They definitely changed a lot of things. He wasn't as penguin-like in the comic, I would say. So much so, I don't know if you know this, Al, but when this movie was initially released, they had a toy figure, or sorry, action figure line by Kenner. And I guess they felt that the penguin was so hideous looking that they actually did not make a penguin figure, if you guys believe that. The Kenner figure was the actual 60s type of penguin. So he had the, you know, the what's they called, monocle,
Yeah, monocle.
in his eye, the top hat, and he's just
all
like
stylish,
pointy nose, but he looked more like human, and just like a
like have a Pinocchio nose,
chubby
sort of?
belly, had like a, not a tuxedo, but like,
A suit,
what's the one that kind of like
tail,
at the, yeah,
coat.
with a tail at the back. So that was the action figure they had back, because and for Christmas, that was one of the figures that I ended up getting with Batman and Catwoman. I think I got all three. But yeah, so that's how hideous that they found this the penguin.
Speaking of
character.
the penguin, like he was apparently inspired by a cigarette cart that had a penguin and like
Yeah.
what was the guy's name that made it? Kane.
Oh, when Bob Kane created Batman, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he
So
saw the. So we were looking at the behind the scene things, and Penguin was inspired by his mistake of like looking at the penguin and was like, it looks like a little man in a suit. And it was like, let's make a penguin, and that was how it turned out. So it was kind of like, and this DVD is kind of neat because I thought it was just gonna be just the movie, but no, there was
I
actually
had
a
some
little
extras for sure.
little extras in it.
Actually, I don't know if you know this, Al, but in the Batman TV series back in the 60s.
The live action.
Yeah, live action. Do you know who played the Penguin? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, basically Rocky's trainer,
Ricky?
Burgess Meredith played Penguin. That's why he had that.
Wait,
that
Burgess-
vibe.
Burgess
yeah,
or
Burgess?
Burgess?
Burgess, yeah. So, yeah, that. Come on. Yeah, he had the same voice.
Oh.
That he,
Run
that he used in
over
Ro-
him.
He was in Rocky, so he actually did Batman before he did the Rocky films, which is interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
I'm wondering if Stallone liked his voice maybe and used it for that.
It
But,
does sound like a very controlling type of voice.
Yeah. But I thought in my book, I believe that Danny DeVito had the breakthrough performance in this. He looked nothing like him. Obviously, the makeup was done really well. He was very.
Like you couldn't tell it was Danny DeVito, and he
No,
didn't have his
no.
voice too.
No, he didn't.
It was all really nasty, and it was like wanting to get it on. He sounded really frustrated down there, if you know what I mean.
No, he did really well. I think Michelle Pfeiffer did really well. She's
Yeah.
She's very very twisted character, complex character.
Yeah, it definitely sounded like a Catwoman when she was Catwoman. But when she wasn't Catwoman, it kind of was like the same thing with Batman, just
Yeah.
kind of like out of character. Before the or after the transformation, it was kind of like.
But you could tell she was clearly messed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
She had a very frayed out Tim Burton
Yeah.
hair. I was like, that's very Tim Burton. Like it just, you can just tell. Whenever I see like really messy hair like that, I'm just like, very Tim Burton.
Well, what did you think of the? I guess the bad gadgets in this one. Did you like them?
Oh, it's.
You had the bat boat.
Oh, wait, the bat boat? Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
bat vehicle boat. He had
Really?
the Batarang that he programmed. I was like, how does that even
And then the dog catches it, which is pretty.
And then
funny.
uses it to frame Batman later
Yeah.
on.
What else did we have?
He also had the grapple hook that was like.
Yeah, the grapple hook. He had this new thing where in the first one he didn't have this. The Batmobile could actually turn around with like this rotating. What was it? That he had at the bottom?
It just pushed the car. It pushed the car up so it
Yeah.
could turn around and then go the other way,
And it
while burning,
burning.
a flamethrower clown.
That was pretty
Well, which
graphic.
was pretty funny.
Yeah. What else did he have?
Speaking of graphic, we did talk about the language earlier. Like they used a lot of other. Like I was like when we were watching. I was like, wow, kids watch this because there was like stuff like bitch, bastards, and all that
Son of a
stuff.
bitch,
I was
yeah.
like
It was pretty dark. Actually.
impressive. I was kind of impressed. I wasn't offended or anything. I was just like, oh, that's.
Well, my mom was
good.
always in tune with the movies that were going on at the time, so she did not allow me to watch this back when it came out. I think
Even though it's Batman.
yeah, but she allowed me to get the comic book, which was the comic book adaptation of this film, which was done really well. The artwork was really nice. I forget who did the work. I think he might have been like a Marvel, even though it was like a DC thing. It seemed like a Marvel.
Oh,
Type
remember?
artwork.
Let's see, what was it? Back then, it was called DC Magazine.
Yeah. But yeah, magazine, you're right, true. But yeah, that's how I first saw this film, I guess, through the comic book adaptation, which was similar. I think
But, yeah, you definitely saw it, just didn't watch it.
yeah, it wasn't as dark, but actually it was pretty faithful though to this film, yeah. So I only saw this movie for my first time probably when it passed on TV, maybe like 1995 or 4.
When you weren't being restricted on what you watched.
Yeah. Same with Ninja Turtles 1989 movie. I didn't get to see that because my mom felt it was too violent, so I saw that later on. Yeah.
It was kind of goofy violent.
Well, it had dark moments though, like when Shredder's like, you know.
Well, the message to kids like, oh, do smoke cigarettes and do bad stuff, rebel.
Yeah, that's
I guess
true.
that part would be pretty, wouldn't sit well with the parents.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see.
What else can we comment about this? Music. What do you think of
I was gonna say
Danny Elfman in this?
Well, you got the dun 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 dun.
Yeah, we have the animated
dun, dun,
series
dun,
that's-
dun. Yeah, that was good. I don't quite remember the rest of the soundtrack to it though.
Yeah.
It's like it was just kind of like in the middle. Like it wasn't bad enough to make me go like, oh, this sounds terrible or so.
But it wasn't memorable. and
Yeah,
all,
it wasn't like memorable, but it was there. It wasn't bad. Could have been better.
Yeah, I can see that.
We already talked about how the movie looks because Tim Burton directed
Yeah,
it.
talk about the sets,
movie
the
is
dark-
very dark.
So much so that you couldn't even tell the
I
Batmobile effects at times, right?
Yeah, when it was putting the
Armor.
armoring itself, I was like,
Too dark.
I can't see it. I can't see this. I don't know if it's because of my TV, but like
No, it's probably just the way it was filmed. I mean, the first Ninja Turtles movies had the same issue at times where it was too dark to see what was going on in the sewers. But yeah, I guess it was just the product of its time. The filming back then wasn't as crisp as it is now, and yeah.
yeah, because it showed like because when it's loaded up, my PS3 was like 480p. I was like, oh, and you were like, huh? So is that good? I was like, yeah, it's good for the time because
Yeah.
it's not HD, but it's like pretty decent quality, like VHS quality.
Well, I mean, I think we've touched on pretty much everything. The characters,
The character, the story.
Storyline.
Well,
darkness.
we didn't really talk about the story. We talked about the character, which involved the story. But,
Well, I guess we don't want to reveal it too much. I mean,
yeah. Let's
I'm,
keep it.
I'm sure most people have seen it by now, but just in case.
Yeah, just in case, like for those
Yeah.
who haven't seen it, like me. But okay. So, what did you think of like the overarching story in like this movie?
like with Max Shrek.
You know, all the characters and what's going on.
Well, I mean, the Penguin definitely. He's pretending to be something that he's not. Like, at first he's pretending, oh, I'm still a human being. You know, give me some decency. Human
Respect.
give me some respect. But deep down, he's still a monster, and he shows that throughout the film. So yeah, you're hoping that he can, I guess,
Redeem
have to
himself.
redeem himself.
But clearly, because he's the Penguin, he's not.
Kind of like Batman when he's watching the whole news clip. He's like, oh, I'm hoping that he gets to meet his parents. Remember when he's talking to Alfred
I
about
thought
it?
that was.
But then deep down, he has like
he doesn't want all the attention given to him.
I think he has a feeling that Penguin probably is pretending to be something that he's not. That's why he's investigating it afterwards.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it
yeah.
sounds too good to be true.
And because like we are tech savvy, we just know the Penguin's gonna do something bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the overarching story, like it's just focused on the characters. I don't think there's like a grand scheme thing. Like Penguin's trying to become
There's a mayor.
be a mayor, but
Mayoral
it's
race,
like
yeah.
it kind of peters out a little bit because it was more about showing how desperate he wanted to be mayor, so he did all this dirty deed behind the back trying to frame Batman. I don't think that would be spoiler because Penguin's gonna do something bad
Yeah.
like that, but we didn't tell how it was done. And then you got Catwoman just trying to find out who she is because she lost her identity sort of, and Batman's trying to help. Actually, I think her character story was kind of just a little weak.
Yeah.
And then you got Christopher Walken, Max Shrek, trying to build a power plant to leave a legacy, control power, and all that stuff. Well, going back to one of your previous question, I guess I would have to say Danny DeVito's Penguin probably was the highlight of it.
Yeah.
Mainly because we spent the most time with him.
Yeah, it
I
felt
would
that
say
way.
so.
Felt like the Penguin returns.
Yeah, and
Because he does come out of the sewer, right? So I mean, he is returning to where he used to be. in a
Yeah,
way.
he definitely felt like
Yeah.
I was watching the Penguin through and through, like an
Yeah.
interesting Tim Burton dark version of it.
Yeah.
So that's so yeah, like overarching story not that great. The character story
Development.
battle but development better. It's kind of like the same thing I felt with Terminator 2 with Sarah Connor, because it was kind of more focused on her,
her, yeah.
but the overarching plot of saving John Connor, keeping John safe, was kind of secondary-ish, because you were just seeing how desperate Sarah was to try to keep him safe in
I can see
the
that.
lengths she would go to. So that's kind of what I felt like with this movie too. But overall, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, and when it came out in the theaters, I don't think it did as well as the 1989 film. Probably because maybe parents didn't think it was suitable.
And
For-
maybe it
for
didn't
children.
it didn't live up to it or something, because they expected
Expectations.
something much better, or that it didn't like it wasn't like a true sequel to like the original.
Yeah,
It
it's
was-
possible. But yeah, overall, it's a dark film. If you like Batman in a scene in a dark style, you'll probably appreciate it. I mean, it's not the greatest Batman film ever made, but it's not bad either. So
Like I said, better than Batman and Robin, and
yeah,
I would sort of watch it again, but probably not for a long while, because like I said with the story, just kind of just
yeah. It's not a feel good movie, that's for sure. So if you want to see like
kind of bittersweet.
yeah, if you're hoping to see a feel good movie, it's not really gonna be there. But
Yeah, it's just like I think like the overarching story was just kind of unfocused and just all character studies, and it's like once you know the character, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, I know who you are, and just like, yeah, like interesting past and all that. So, but no, not a bad movie. I would recommend it.
yeah.
Like checking it out at least.
Yeah, if you're a Batman fan, definitely check it out. When I was pointing out a little bit about the marketing for this film, I mean, they did have a lot of video games. And
Yes.
what was unique about this particular movie is that each game was actually different on each system. So Super Nintendo had a beat 'em up. The Genesis version was more like a platforming,
Oh yeah, I think I did play that.
which was
That
extremely
wa-
hard. That was like one of the hardest.
That
games
was also
I've
really
ever
dark
played.
too, because
Yeah,
it was hard to
pretty dark.
see.
Yeah, literally dark too. And then
Yeah,
Batman,
NES.
Batman Returns for NES was a beat 'em up, but it was different from the SNES. You actually had scenes where you were in the Batboat, you were in the Batmobile, but those were like more like bonus scenes, I would say, like where you get points and stuff.
For extra lives.
Yeah, but for the most part, it was a beat 'em up, and you could actually have the grappling hook. You could use that as a weapon, which is kind of cool. So if there was enemies above you, you could destroy them with your grappling hook.
Oh, that's kind of. And you also like pointed out the organ trailer.
Oh yeah,
guy
Organ
was-
Grinder. Yeah,
Grinder was in the movie.
That guy is really
or-
hard in the
in the
NES
game.
NES game anyway, but in the film, yeah, he's nothing. Like,
And same with like the one of the clowns, the
oh,
damsel,
the female. What do they call her? In
the
this one?
knife.
Yeah, the knife wielding woman. Yeah,
Yeah, the knife wielding
She's
one.
pretty hard in the NES version. Yeah. But yeah, interesting marketing. McDonald's actually had figures when this came out.
I think I
And,
might. I think I recall that.
And surprisingly, they allowed the grotesque penguin to be in it. So he was as he's seen in the film. Obviously, he doesn't have like black blood through his mouth or anything, but yeah,
or what looked like mascara.
yeah, but he definitely looks like the penguin from the film, as opposed to the Kenner action figure.
Oh
line.
jeez, when the penguin died and when
Yeah, that's pretty.
not really spoilers, because
Yeah.
either the villains die or they don't, so
Yeah.
we just kind of spoil-ish. Like when the penguins are carrying the
Down
the other
into the-
penguin down the thing, I was like, how are they doing? Oh, the penguins, the special effects. We didn't quite talk about that part,
Yeah, that's true.
but the penguins.
Yeah,
This
Stan-
movie did a very good job with like the penguins, because I honestly could not tell what was a real penguin or what was a fake one.
Yeah, they had.
Like some scenes was like with the emperor penguins, I was like,
It's too,
there's
too big,
probably
right?
a good chance it's a person, but I can't tell, because Tim Burton apparently got an army of penguins
Yeah.
for this movie,
Which
and
is-
I was actually impressed by how they got them all organized. I was like, that's kind of impressive. Like you got to give the movie props for that.
Yeah, and Stan Winston worked on it, oddly enough.
Oh yeah, Stan Winston.
Yeah, so they had special effects. They had like robotic penguins. They had puppeteer
Animatronics, puppeteers.
animatronics, and they actually had small people in, I guess, bigger penguin costumes. Yeah.
Yes, but there were actual penguins too. But
Yeah.
yeah, the special effects were very well done.
Yeah. I don't know what else can we point on. I think we pretty much.
I
touched
think
on
for the most part we talked about what we could think of about the movie. So yeah, go check out Batman Returns, or if you
Yes.
haven't seen it in a while, go return and take a look at it.
Yes, I promise we'll return and we'll return as well, guys. Promise we'll be back.
Yeah. So next time, not sure if it's gonna be another Batman movie, but we'll see. Maybe the next one will have like a comedian fall out of the attic.
yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Alright, guys, thank you. Promise we'll be back.
Peace. Stay tuned. Filmed in the winter,
they
then in the
released it
summer. Yeah, but the
yeah.
reason we watched it was because at ANC there was a bat in the attic.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, there was a bat in our attic at ANC, and it somehow got through in the storage area where we keep the games, and they had to capture it. I mean, it damaged its wing, and I told Wizwar, yes, it's a sign. We have to.
It's the bat signal.
It's a bat.
That's what I was saying. And then
watch Batman Returns.
so that was it. But then there were
Yeah.
3 other movies. It was like, which one? It's like it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Hey, penguins. It's kind of cold,
I
so
think it makes
let's do
sense.
that. It was really cold yesterday. By the way, what was it? You sure the bat didn't have any like younglings in its nest? Maybe
I
like
mean,
it made a
it's-
nest.
It's possible, yeah, because the attic is. I've never been up there, but apparently it's.
I think
probably
it should be a good check, like in case there's more, and then
Yeah.
next time something happens. But back to the movie, alive and well. So this is my first time seeing Batman Returns. I played the Super Nintendo
Oh,
Nintendo
the beat
video
'em up,
game.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
beat 'em up. I saw bits of
down into.
Yeah, there
the,
was, like, some moments
sewer.
where-
He said, "No, if you have any,
grudges.
you wanna, what do you say, of human emotion, you'll take me instead." So, and the fact that he stepped up for his son there kind of showed he was maybe trying to redeem himself there.
He
but,
was he had a goal. It wasn't like he wanted to be remembered for
The
times
the
as a-
legacy,
yeah,
yeah.
for his legacy. But
it was kind of
the way he went about it was kind of just
yeah,
not always the right thing because obviously he murdered Selena Kyle, who's
Catwoman.
Who's Catwoman? Basically, if you hear the name Selena, Catwoman right there. But crap. What
But
was
basically, I think what they were getting at was different kinds of freaks and monsters at a hand here. Of course, Batman had a dark childhood with his parents being murdered. You had Catwoman, very repressed, suppressed by her boss, and you had Shrek, who was using people, killing people to get what he wanted. And then you had the Penguin, who was
because of it.
definitely a good face, and I don't know. Were you happy to see actors that you were familiar with, like Christopher Walken as Max Shrek?
I was not expecting Christopher Walken in this movie. I was like, that just made this movie really funny because as long as you have Christopher Walken, you're bound to have something funny happen in this movie, and
Yeah,
he did pretty good
Yeah, he
as like
did.
the
kind of like the
what was it, the executive. He plays this character called Max.
yeah Max Shrek. I mean, you kind of
Yeah,
compared
Shrek.
him to Scrooge.
Scrooge
in a
McDuck,
way,
or
so-
yeah, not McDuck, just Scrooge. Scrooge McDuck is from Disney,
Like
but
a
yeah.
modern Scrooge,
Because his
yeah.
hair, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it
for
looks
sure.
like
I think that's what they were. Yeah, they were pretty much aiming for, and
because that hairstyle. It was also kind of old for this movie too,
Yeah.
like the style, but
and it also makes sense in a twisted kind of way because I mean, with Tim Burton, his messages are always darker.
And
But I could
subtle.
see at the end maybe he was trying to kind of redeem himself, like with the Penguin wanted to take his son Chip.
so let's start it off
We're back. That's right, guys.
We have returned.
for another movie.
Yes, which one?
Man, you just kind of gave it away if you're subtle enough to see it, or if you looked at the YouTube title. Well, basically, we saw another Batman movie, Batman Returns,
Yes.
starring Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle
Pfeiffer, yeah.
Pfeiffer. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was our reason for watching this one over all the other ones?
Well-
Because last time we said we'd go backwards, but we didn't.
Yeah, we thought we'd do Batman Forever, guys, but we'll let that dwell on. Not forever, but we'll get back to it.
But the reason why is because it's cold outside. It's the ice age right now. It's February. It's very cold in Toronto. That's why we did a
Last night it
a
was
very
freezing.
It was freezing, guys. We're doing a very cold movie, a very dark movie. Batman Returns was just set around Christmas time in December. But actually, the movie was released in the summer, guys. This is a strange thing about this movie.
Yeah, because I speculated that that it was filmed in the summer, but
Or actually,
no,
you
no,
thought
no,
it was
it's
fil-
of this movie. Like I know Catwoman's in it and Penguin's in it, but other than that, I've never seen this movie, and it is directed by Tim Burton, who also directed the first
Yeah,
Batman.
1989. Yep.
So, well, one thing to say is, I liked it. I liked the movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it better than Batman and Robin. 'Cause
Yeah.
Tim Burton's like style in this movie, you can definitely see it because there's a lot of it like shown throughout the movie where
Very
it's just
dark.
Yeah, and a very Nightmare Before Christmas during
Yeah,
the
for
snow
sure.
scenes.
This came out around the same time. I think Nightmare came out slightly after. But yeah, definitely a prelude to that movie.
Also, this movie is 2 hours long, and when we finished, I was like, it felt like an hour 30 minutes, and
and-
it's like any movie that does the thing where you watched it for a long time but didn't realize that you watched it for a long time. It has to be a pretty good movie because then you're not thinking about how much is there left, like Batman and Robin,
Yeah, definitely
which
good.
we'll probably harp on a lot.